Okay, we'll mention that. So welcome everyone to Matthew Satsang. I know most of you have been before. It looks like we have a few new people and a few fewer people since it's Easter Sunday. I think people are busy. Um, we're really happy to see everyone. And I just as the last two times, we started recording. And Renu puts it on a special YouTube channel called Anandamayi Ma Satsang West. And this is just, for devotees, because people ask this repeatedly. If we miss that song, is there a way to record it? And also, if you want to kind of reference some of the things we read about Ma and listen to those again. So we're asking everyone who participates, uh, excuse me, to understand and give your permission that you are being recorded, okay? Because we have to do that as a disclaimer. But I hope it doesn't in any way make people shy and not want to participate, because we'll have a discussion at the end of the readings and things. We'll have a nice discussion and open mic so people can interact and talk about their feelings with the readings and what's going on. So that's that. So first, as we always do, I like to have everyone introduce themselves. So if people don't have their video on, please look in the upper right-hand square where your picture is and click Start Video. Then we can see you because we'd like to see who's here. One of the reasons we've started this satsang is for the very reason of having community. I felt over the years when I met people that have been touched by Ma, as all of us have, that we should have a place we can go and be together, learn more, support each other, help each other, be community. So this, even though it's such a strange platform of Zoom, we're here from all over the world. And so I like to everyone to introduce themselves. At this time, though, since we have a lot of people, I ask people just to say their name and where they're from, okay? And then later we'll have time to discuss. So to begin with, my name is Mangalananda, and I have the title of Acharya. See, I get to talk more because I got the mic. I have the title of Acharya from Ma Sharanam Ashram, our ashrams of Anandamayi Ma in India. And I've been asked to do this, and so I do it. And this is my wonderful wife.
Jai Ma, I'm Gloria.
And I want to introduce my co-host, Pragya Halstrom, who is the author of the beautiful book, Mother of Bliss, about Ma. And why don't you introduce yourself? And then Savita today is co-host. So then Savita, introduce yourself and just call people one at a time, okay? So Pragya?
Hi everyone, Jai Ma, I'm Pragya. It's so good to be with you again. And it seems like it's been a while. My husband has been sick and I think I missed one satsang. So he's doing much better and I'm very happy to be back. And we're very lucky because we have 3 satsangs in a row. We have today, and then 2 weeks from today, we're having a special satsang for Ma's birthday. And then 3 weeks after that, our regular one. So we will be seeing each other through the auspicious month of Ma's birth. And I'm really excited about that. So, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma. I'm Savita, and I'm in the Bay Area with Mangalananda ji and Gloria ji and Renu, and I'm going to go down the line. And my apologies if I forgot anyone's names, but I'll be reading the name that's associated with your Zoom window. So I will call on Renu Didi.
Hey Ma, Renu Didi from Fremont, California, near the Bay Area, San Francisco area. Good, glad to be with you all.
Hey Didi, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
And I have Murad.
Hi, Murad from Boston. So good to be back. Jai Ma, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Good to see you, Dr. G. Jai Ma.
I have David Herring.
Yes, we are David and Linda, and we live in Williamsburg, Virginia. We have been to Ma's place in Kankal.
Very good to see you two. What's the cat's name? You didn't introduce him.
Squeaky.
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 David and Linda.
He's 20. Squeaky. He's 20 years old.
Good Lord.
He's doing very well.
You three.
Moms teach me how to take care of him.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Jay Ma, Scott Linford.
I'm Scott Linford. I'm Fair Oaks, California. I have lived in Oakland for the last decade or so. So Bay Area. So I'm new. I've just discovered Ma, and I want to learn more. So I'm all ears.
Welcome, Scott. Welcome. And if you have some wonderful story about how Ma crept into your life, when we have our discussion, I'd love to hear
Okay.
that.
Yeah. All right.
Very, very welcome. I'm very happy to see you. Good, good.
Geeta G.
Geeta, you there?
Jai Ma, this is Geeta from New York. Always very happy to be here. Namaskar Acharya ji. Namaskar Gloria.
Jai Ma, Jai Bhagavan.
Jai Ma.
Good to see you.
Jay Ma John.
Yeah. Hi, guys. This is John from Berkeley. Hey, Mangananda and Gloria. Nice to see you.
Hi, John.
Good to see you, Jim.
I'm glad you made it back. Okay. You swam all the way from Venezuela. That's very impressive.
I literally just walked in the room about an hour ago. I hadn't seen Gloria for over nearly 2 weeks now. So I just came back. Anyway, we're going to sit down and get our calendar when we can go for a walk. Okay. Jai Ma.
Bye bye.
Jay Ma Katia.
Jai Ma, this is Katia from Portugal. Very happy to be with you here. Thank you.
Good to see you, Katia.
Jai Ma, very good to see you too. Jai Ma.
Jay Ma Greg.
Hi, boa noche to Portugal. Hi, I'm Greg in New Hampshire. Jai Ma, thanks for being here.
Good to see you, Greg. We missed you the last couple of months.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, I missed last month. I think I missed one.
Maybe it's just one. Okay. Okay. Anyway, good to see you. Always good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you. Thank you.
Did you have a beard before?
I did, but I think it's longer now. It
Nice.
just keeps growing. I don't know why.
What happens? What is the deal?
Jay Ma Saraswati. Barbara.
Saraswati here in East Aurora, New York. Jai Ma, everyone. Good to see you.
Jai Ma Saraswati, welcome.
Jay Ma Yanaba Wise.
Jai Ma, Yana from Hilo, Hawaii, Big Island. It's great to be here. Thank you.
Always good to see you, Anna. Jai Ma.
Jay Ma Ananda Swarupa Ji.
Hello, I am Ananda Svarupa from Mallorca Island, Spain. Thank you very much for this opportunity to be in this very nice satsang. Thank you very much, Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, sir, and this is very serious. When we go through, we have a way we do things. I understand it's late there, late at night, but you had to sign off too early last time. As soon as we're through with our reading, when Pragya does her reading, I'd love to hear a brief account of your story of how Ma grabbed your heart, okay, from there in Spain.
Okay.
So if you can stay long enough, if you can stay up long enough for that, I'd appreciate it. We'll do it first thing, so then you can go to bed afterwards.
Afterwards, okay.
Good. Savita, remind me, again, you're my external memory, so you might be to get.
My memory is not so good as well.
And Jai Ma Leela.
Jai Ma. Hello, everyone. I'm Leela from Kansas. Good to be here. Thank you.
What? Is this your first time?
Second. My
Your
second time.
Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, good. Very happy. You're wonderful, Jai Ma.
Thank you.
And Jai Ma Vikas.
I think we did Gita, didn't we?
Vikas, Vikas.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm here in Southern California.
Jema Vikas, and we have been exchanging emails, right?
That's right.
Very good. Good to see your face. Jema, welcome.
Likewise, thanks.
Where is your family from in India?
Well, it's a state called Orissa,
Orissa.
which is next to West Bengal.
Yeah, I know. I've been in Orissa many times. Jagannath Puri.
Yeah, I was born in Puri.
So do you speak Hindi or is it Orissi? What's the language?
Well, three languages: Hindi, Bengali, and Oriya.
Oriya, yeah, Oriya. Okay. You're welcome. हम आपस में हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं. मुझे पूरी हिंदी आती है. लेकिन हम अंग्रेजी में बोलेंगे इसके लिए. Good to see you. Good to see you. Jai Ma.
Likewise.
Jai Ma, Julia.
This is Julia Shyama from Ontario, and I've missed the past satsangs. I'm on the other side now of 2 surgeries for cancer.
Oh my God.
Ma's grace. And Vikas, I lived in Jagannath Puri for years, and now Mukaibi, which means I'm eating, which is a good thing after cancer.
Wow.
Oh, Julie, Shyama, I'm so happy you're over that. We didn't know we would have been praying for you. Keep in touch. Also, let us know when you're going through those things. And this is our community. This is our Ma community. I think we will pray for each other. Absolutely. Well, that does make a difference. We're all tuning into Ma together. I'm so happy you're better. Really good. Good to see you.
Thank you.
I used to stay with Shyama in Florida when I was on tour from India. She had a beautiful Ayurvedic retreat there. Jai Ma Shyama.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, Michael.
Hi, it's Michael from Sebastopol, just north of Gloria and Mangalananda.
Hi, Michael.
Jai Ma, good to be here.
Very good to see you, Michael.
And Jai Ma, Haripriya Ji.
Yeah, Jai Ma. I'm Haripriya from South Germany, and I want to say thank you that you put it the satsang on the YouTube channel now, because here it's always super late in Germany, and sometimes I'm too tired to stay awake. So thank you. I have checked the link and it's working, because last satsang I was in Austria, so I cannot make it with the children and my grandchild also. They are learning ski with 3 years. Okay. And I want to say also, there is a very nice Ma's ashram in Puri near the seaside. And we was there already. And when I hear someone is coming from Orissa, I'm thinking back of my time Ratha Yatra in Jagannath Puri. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma. Yeah, good. Of course, we always love seeing you in person, Haripriya. So whenever you can make it, please do. But yeah, now you can look at the satsang afterwards, and that's good. Yeah, I've also been.
Yes. Yes.
Thank
you.
It's very small, but they let me stay there. They had a new guest house. Yeah, it's a beautiful ashram, right, kind of on the seaside.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Jai Ma.
And the Swamiji is very nice, Swami Golokananda. And he is very strong in his own sadhana and invite me every time when he see me to come again. They have renovated the ashram also. And you know, the puja room from Ma, it was packed fully with agrabati, with incense. And it smelled so wonderful.
When was the last time you was there?
Oh, it must be back, let's see, it must be back around, I would say 8 years. We want to go to Kailash, and the border was closed. Yeah. And then I look on my Krishna calendar and my eyes fall on, now it's the time for Ratha Yatra, let's go. And it was wonderful. We was on the terrace because we get from a devotee a letter. So we can stay upstairs of the terrace and can make a video, and we was out of the crowd. and it was wonderful. Yeah. And I have little Jagannath deities also here. Jema, if subject of Krishna come, I cannot stop. Sorry, Jema. Jema.
Jema Gulshan.
Damar, everyone. Nice to be here. I'm from Gulshan from Washington, D.C. area.
Jema Gulshan, good to see you, old friend.
Jema Reed.
Hi, everybody. I'm sorry, I'm not that familiar with the phone, so I'm kind of figuring it out. I'm in Berkeley. It's great to be here. Jema.
Good to see you, Reed. Jema, always good to see you. We'll get together again soon.
That would be wonderful. I'd really like that.
Good.
And Jema Nilas.
Nilas.
Oh.
Be sure and unmute yourself if you are. It's on the upper right square of your little photo.
Yes, Jema. My name is Nila. I live in Sweden. I'm from Iran. And it's my first time I'm here. I'm new and I'm happy to be here with all of you.
Oh, how
And
wonderful. Yes?
Can you hear me?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. And I'm new here and I'm excited to be a part of the satsang.
Great.
Very, very wonderful. Thank you. Welcome from Sweden. We're so happy you're with us.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
thank you, Jema.
This is more than satsang. Like I said, this is our community. We've all been touched. And that's a very deep.
Beautiful.
Jai Mandila, welcome.
Jema, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Savita, who's next? Is that everybody? It's like we have 25 people. Everybody been introduced?
Rachel Sanma.
Oh, hi. Greetings, everyone. Jai Ma. It's Rahael here in Mount Shasta. So happy to be here.
Always good to see you, Rahel.
Thank you. Good to see all of you, always.
Oh, apologies on your name pronunciation, Rahael.
Oh, that's fine. Rachel's fine too. Either way.
Jema. And then I have Leslie.
Oh, yes. Hello. Jai Ma. I'm very happy to be here from Connecticut.
Jema.
Jema, Leslie, good to see you.
Yeah.
Is this your first time also?
I'm sorry.
Is this your first time here?
Oh, no, this is my second.
Okay, very good, very good.
Thank you.
Well, we'll start the actual meeting soon. To me, this is really important that we see everyone's face. It's so good to see everyone. And we just kind of connect this way. It's really good. So welcome.
And I have one more, Charlotte.
Hi, I'm Charlotte. I'm checking in because I'm really scared that I'm getting psychically attacked. Or I think Ma wants me to talk to you about it. And I was trying to, in my longing, I was searching for a teacher, and I ended up learning songs from a Baal master, and then I think I was getting hurt, and I thought Ma was telling me to stop. So here I am today. I feel kind of embarrassed, but maybe I shouldn't be. I'd rather be Ma's devotee than doing those practices, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, with this, we're happy you're here, first of all. And this is your home, this is your community. You never have to be embarrassed with us. When it's in the discussion time, let's talk about this also later on. And I'm also always happy to talk to you if you want to email me or something too. But we can talk about that. So you're in the right place. Okay. So and we'll talk about it later. Okay.
Okay.
During this time. Okay, Jema, and welcome here. Hang in there.
And I believe, did I get everyone there?
If anybody has not been introduced, please unmute and say hi. We don't want to leave anybody out. Okay. Last call. Okay, very good. So let's begin. Those of you who have been here before know we have kind of a liturgical sequence we use here to keep things clear. And I like to always start with reading about Ma's own words, how accessible and how she is here before us, obviously. And I always like to say, the fact that we're here is because we have received Ma's grace, the grace of Anandamayi Ma. She said, no one can think of her unless she first thinks of us. So she's reached out for some reason known only to her and touched each one of our hearts. And so how we respond is up to us, but she's touched us. Otherwise we wouldn't know of her. We wouldn't be drawn to her. We wouldn't love her. We wouldn't want to know more about her. That's her grace. So how we respond, we learn more. We study her teachings. We meet in satsang. We do the practice that she recommends. That's the important thing. And we know that she is a depository of grace, that she came to this world to open up that flow of grace and to show us how to open it up. And by turning to her and remembering her, our own inner nature is awakened. So it's just such a wonderful thing. She was an historical character in the sense that she breathed the air of earth for a few years, but she's a character from eternity, always accessible and always able to awaken us by her presence. So here are Ma's words. She says this: I am ever with each one of you, wherever you happen to be, but your vision is tied down to worldly matters and you have little time to direct your eyes to this body in your thoughts and actions, which is another reason we're having Mati Satsang. We're taking that time. What can I do? But know it for certain that whatever you do in thought and deed, whether you are near or in distant lands, never escapes my loving attention. Just as at a flash of torchlight, your faces gleam forth in their bold outlines, all your facial expressions appear in my mind when you meditate on me or talk about me or sit down to pray to me. So Ma is very much aware of us. She's in everyone's heart. So intellectually, we're going to read stories about Ma. We're going to read her words, but let's first tune into her spiritually through singing. Singing bypasses the mind. So we always start with this wonderful, simple kirtan, which is kind of the theme song of our ashram in India, Ma Sharanam Ashram. We simply say, Om Ma Sharanam. Sharanam means a place of refuge, a place of strength, a place of power to draw from. So Om Ma Sharanam.
Original sound, Mangalanandaji.
Thank you. Henry. Remember to turn it off afterwards too. Shri 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 Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Om Ma Sharanam. Here, Rainy or someone, there's someone waiting. Om Ma Sharanam. 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 Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Anandamayi Ma. Anandamayi Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Ma Sharanam, Om 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 Ma Sharanam. Om Ma Sharanam, 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 Om Ma Sharanam. One last time together with full love. Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam, Om Ma Sharanam. Let's just sit quietly for a moment and just feel Ma's presence. Tune into Ma's presence right with us right now. Ma. So I like to read, always start with a couple of events from Ma's life, people's impressions of her. I like reading people's first darshan of Ma. So we get a feeling. Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you, thank you. So we get a feeling of what it was like to interact with Ma. I mean, like I've said many times, having been with her, it can't really ever be put into words. It was such a supernatural experience being with her. But when we read of it, we can just tune into that time. So this is an account back from 1948 by a devotee called N.R. Dasgupta. So he says, it was a summer evening in the month of Vaisak. About a couple of years ago, that I had the chance of meeting Mother Anandamayi for the first time. The occasion was her 50th birthday. The celebration was taking place in my locality at Baligunj. I got an invitation letter, and I'd once thought of taking the opportunity of seeing Ma, about whom I'd heard so much for a long time. I went and I found a very large crowd of men, women, and children, not only inside the ashram where Ma was putting up, but also in the street in front, making it almost impossible for anyone to push through. In any case, it was hopeless for me, and I decided to come back when fortunately a friend of mine, a senior advocate at the Calcutta bar, accosted me, and I told him of my desire. He said that Ma had gone out for an evening drive in the car of a devotee, and she would be coming back presently. Both of us were standing in the street, and my friend requested me to wait. I did so and looked at the crowd waiting in suspense for the return of the mother. Within a few minutes, the car came. In the meantime, I was thinking of what this Ma must look like. I imagined an austere old woman with long matted hair, or perhaps with a clean-shaven head, a sannyasini with saffron dress. I also wondered as to why such a large crowd of different ages had collected. What did they find in her? The car came, and I was practically pushed through the door of the car by my friend, who was a man of influence there. The door opened, and to my utter surprise, instead of an austere sannyasini of the usual type, a very soft and sweet personality in the form of an extraordinarily fair, handsome woman alighted from the car. She was dressed in a clean white dhoti, and a silk chadar was wrapped around her body. I bowed as many others did from different directions. I was introduced by my friend who was well known to her. She seemed to take no notice of me. I looked at her face and saw a distant look and a beautiful pair of dark, dreamy eyes, the like of which I had never seen before. I was charmed, and to be frank, I was immediately captivated. I realized at once what the people were mad for. My idea was just to see her once, and if possible, to talk with her for a few minutes and finish with it. Lots of luck. But during her short stay in Calcutta for the occasion, I went there every day, and more often twice daily, just to have a look at her from a distance and to hear her talk if possible. So long as she could be seen, it was impossible to come away. This was the charm I had, that there was something that just drew the soul. I heard her talking mainly in answer to questions put to her by different members of the crowd. I have heard learned scholars and philosophers asking intricate questions on religion and philosophy, and also boys and girls in their teens asking simple, unsophisticated questions. She answers them all and sometimes bursts out in laughter. Apart from which she says, which I have been told by expert, reveals the highest philosophical truth in its simplest form, though she never received any education in the ordinary sense of the term. The way she talks fascinates all, and by the ring of her laughter, one is bound to bear in mind long after it is heard no more. And that was interesting. Throughout Ma's life, people came, in fact, as he said, philosophers came and asked questions, and without a moment's hesitation, she always had the right answer, but very seedy, very earthy. Her answers were always very practical and earthy. During the period I have known her, I had the good fortune of coming in close contact with her on more than one occasion. I've seen her not only in Bengal, but all over northern India, large numbers of people of both sexes belonging to various strata of society, collecting around her wherever she happens to be, looking at her in a spirit of deep reverence for hours and hours, and almost without exception, unwilling to move away so long as she can be seen even from a distance. I have seen many young boys and girls once coming in contact with her, weeping bitterly at the mere idea of separation. I've seen how she looks at them and how she smiles. I remember on occasion when a young girl of the matriculation class, who had been with her only 4 or 5 days, started weeping in the evening merely at the prospect of leaving Ma the next day, though she was going back to her own mother and family. What is the secret of this mystic attraction? I once asked Ma the question straight. She laughed and said, quote, "I am the nearest and dearest to you all, though you may not know it," unquote. I heard later from a very reliable source that Mahatma Gandhi, on an occasion when Ma was with him, asked her a question more or less of the same line to find out the mystery behind it. I am told that only a few months ago, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel went to see Ma while she was at Dehradun and spent about an hour with her. I do not know what transpired. I should very much like to know. I am told by one who knows that the late Srimati Kamala Nehru was a great devotee of Ma. She was always looking for an opportunity to come in close contact with the mother and often took mother away from the crowd in her car to some solitary place so that she might feel the proximity of Ma's presence all by herself in silence. And on such occasions, she went into a sort of trance and remained like that for a pretty long time. I've been further informed that she wrote a letter to a friend in which she stated that she realized Sri Krishna, who was her Ishta, is also in the personality of mother. This is the Prime Minister of India he's talking about. Foreigners also came, not only Indians, but I've seen many foreigners too, completely under the influence of Ma. I am told of a French lady of a very respectable family who was somehow or other deeply inspired by the great ancient culture of India and came to India to see an Indian Mahatma. She went to the ashram of Sri Aurobindo at Pondicherry, but was directed from there to go to Ma Anandamayi and to keep company with her, for which she did for a long time and was deeply influenced. I have seen a young Austrian lady always eager to be in Ma's company and waiting for a long time just to get a chance or a look. But at last she gets the chance. She looks and cannot turn her eyes away from Ma, though she understands neither the language of mother nor the culture that mother represents. There are many others like that. They're frequently said about us in Americans. Now I speak Hindi, I didn't then. We would sit for hours and listen to people talk and listen to them speak, not understanding a word. And people would say, what do you get out of it? You're not understanding what Ma said. Just to be with Ma was the whole thing, was the education, was the experience, was the soul awakening. This is what I have seen of Mother Anandamayi. From what she is, I do not know. What she represents, I have not realized. I've read some articles on her by well-known philosophers, as she has been called a mystic rose, and is always being in the Satchidananda state. That's a state of non-dual awareness. Swami Vivekananda has said, quote, there is another set of teachers, Christs of the world. They are the teachers of all teachers, God himself coming in the form of humanity, so they can transmit spirituality with a touch, with a wish, which makes the lowest saints in 1 second, unquote. That's Swami Vivekananda. Does she belong to this category? She is divine and she suggests something eternal, something which inspires in us a sense of the unknown, which is beauty, which is purity, and which is love. An all-embracing and everlasting kindness of mystic character seems to radiate through her personality, and everyone in her company is fascinated with a peculiar sense of joy, which is not to be had in the ordinary pursuits of our modern life. That is perhaps the reason why she is looked upon by about 5 lakhs of devotees all over India as the incarnation of the great power which sustains the entire creation, the Divine Mother. And it is true, I've said before, I realized many times when I was sitting with Ma that what I was experiencing was something that the world cannot give. There's no experience in the world could give the response I was feeling in my own heart and soul of being with Ma. It was a unique experience, totally unique experience. I want to read one more. I think it's relevant to these times we're in right now. This horrible, we don't want to get into politics here, but we all are aware, there's a terrible, destructive, uselessly destructive war going on. It's tearing everybody's heart. And a while back, in fact, right before Russia attacked Ukraine, one such time, we even did some prayers to Ma that it wouldn't happen, but it did happen. So it's obviously in the divine will. We can't say, but here, this is something that's a little bit relevant. This is from, we talked about my friend Swami Gyanananda. I think the last satsang or satsang before last, he was a Swiss Swami from Switzerland who stayed in India over 50 years and really became a saint, a great yogi. And he loved Ma very much. And I used to visit him quite often. This is from his book, The Transcendent Journey, Swami Gyanananda Giri. And think of it in the light of today's, what's happening in current events. He says, I remember in 1962, there was a war between India and China. Anandamayi Ma was in Dehradun. This Swami, he refers to himself in the third person as this Swami. This Swami was staying in the town with some devotees. Every evening, we would all go to Ma's Kishanpur ashram for darshan. Dignitaries from Delhi were also there, hoping for Ma's blessing, as the country was facing a grave political crisis. China had given India a 3-day ultimatum in which to surrender. On the northeastern front, the Indian army was in retreat. It was Monday, the first day of the ultimatum. There was silence in the ashram, especially in the hall where Ma was sitting in meditation. Everyone present was keenly aware of the country's situation. But her devotees looked on Ma as the divine Shakti who directs the entire world. I recall that day because it had such an intense depth and uncanny serenity. There was a feeling of strong surrender to whatever was Mother's will. After a prolonged silence, she suddenly looked up tenderly at her spiritual children and said, "Tell me, what is the day today?" After a moment's hesitation, one of the ashram girls replied, "Ma, today is Monday." There was silence again. A little later, Ma again asked, "And what day is tomorrow?" Timidly, someone said, "Ma, tomorrow will be Tuesday." There was a pause. Then Ma said in a strong voice, "What day will it be after that?" To this one, no one dared to reply, nor did Ma insist on an answer. It was late in the evening, everyone left, somehow relieved that the day after tomorrow had not been mentioned. But the entire country was anxious about what was going to happen. See, Ma did these interesting kind of leelas where she would involve people and work with their energy also. Like sometimes someone would ask for someone to be healed, and Ma would ask people, "Do you think they'll be healed?" She would ask 3 people, and it would happen. So anyway, this was part of Ma's leela. On Tuesday evenings, remember we have a 3-day ultimatum from the Chinese. On Tuesday evening, this Swami was again at the ashram, and so were most of the devotees of the previous day. Ma was serene, bliss radiating as always from her joyous being. When evening kirtan was finished, Ma pointed to the distant hills and into the sky overhead and said, "See, all the clouds have vanished." The next day, Wednesday, China withdrew its army to its own side of the mountain border without any explanation. The 3rd day of the ultimatum never came. Such was Ma's leelas. Such was Ma's leela. And so I've heard this from other people who were also there, that they really felt Ma, just by her kayal, made the attack not happen. Now, we don't know the ways of God. Why couldn't our prayers prevent Ukraine from being attacked? It just, it seems so useless and so hideous, but it's in the will of God, obviously. Some people say it's actually we're not going to make Putin some kind of savior, but it is some kind of world karmic cleansing that's going on, which does not excuse this barbaric dictator. One more quick thing I want to read from the same book. There's just so many instances like this in Ma's life. Once a senior devotee of Anandamayi Ma revealed to the Swami a very interesting incident. A horoscope was cast for this person by a famous pundit who predicted that on a particular date he would meet with a serious accident. The man did not take the horoscope seriously and forgot the matter. Like Vedic astrology is extremely accurate. I'll tell you that. One day, as he was traveling from Chandigarh to Delhi by car, it suddenly skidded and went off the road. Before the vehicle overturned and crashed, its door was flung open, and the man distinctly felt a firm hand grip his arm and pull him out of the car. He fell by the side of the road and lost consciousness. When he came to himself, he remembered the prediction and found it was indeed that very day. Struck by the coincidence, he took the horoscope to another astrologer. Without disclosing that it was his own, he asked for a reading on behalf of the person to whom it belonged. The astrologer studied it and made a few calculations, then told him that it was useless to proceed further as the person concerned was dead. The man remonstrated, but the astrologer remained firm. According to his calculations, the person in question had died on the day of the accident. When told by the man that the horoscope was his own, the astrologer remained silent for a few moments. Then he inquired whether his client had a guru. On being told that his spiritual protector and guide was Anandamayi Ma, The astrologer smiled and closing his book said, where there is Ma Anandamayi, astrology comes to an end. So that's some readings from Ma's life. And so we can just think of her Leela and think of her, everything she did was an eternal Leela because she had no karma. She was totally free. So everything is a lesson to us. So we can just hear these things and hear people's impressions of Ma just brings her to mind. And when she comes to mind, her presence in mind. I'd like to ask now, before we open for discussion, I'd ask our Pragya Hallstrom to read a little bit from her book. She's got a new book at the printer now, which should be published soon. Do you want to give a brief description, Pragya, of how it came about?
Sure.
For those who don't know this yet. This is going to be a monumental addition to the literature on Anandamayi Ma, this new book. So Pragya, why don't you describe, and then we'll have a reading from this.
Okay, thank you, Jema. Well, speaking of blessings and the karma that that happens, you know, once you're associated with Ma, I was gifted a set of talks that Ma had given between 1960 and 1981, when Harvard University received an archive of all of Ma's tapes and videos and so forth. And recently, well, 5 years ago, our friend Swami Guru Sharanananda, when he found out that I had these satsangs all printed out in my house, he said, you have to do something. You know, these are Ma's, you know, the final words, the last 20 years of her life that have been recorded, and you have the transcript. So I spent 5 years with my friend Jaya, who's actually a relative, a descendant of Ma's, going through them and listening to them and correcting the translation and doing some new translation. So today's reading is from a talk that Ma is giving in Ahmedabad in March 1975. These are tapes number 47 and 47A. So I'll read Ma, and then you'll hear the questioner responding to Ma. Shri Ma, just now this body remembers what Hari Baba told her. He was telling her a real story, a real event as it happened with him. He is a Mahatma. He went to the Narmada River for a holy bath. Everybody was going to the river early in the morning at 4 a.m. to have a holy dip. So he also went there at that time. When he was returning from the holy bath, he saw that someone was sleeping on the sand, covering his body and face with a red cloth. He said to the person, hey, all of the pilgrims are taking a bath in the river and you're sleeping at this auspicious time. Get up. See, they're all busy worshiping and singing bhajans. Don't be idle, get up. You should take a bath and do Bhagavat Karya, actions performed for God. Unquote. Hari Baba was a Mahatma and he was advising the man on the beach to do Bhagavat Puja. But the man lying there did not appear to be listening to him. He appeared to be fast asleep. He asked him 2 or 3 times and began to walk away. But when he started to walk away, the man called him and said, please come nearer, sit down, place your ears against my feet and hear. Hari Baba was anxious, but he went close to the man and placed his ears against his feet. To his great surprise, he realized that the man's feet were doing the japa. The man asked him to examine his hands. Hari Baba heard the same japa going on in his hands. He placed his ears against his chest. There too, the same japa was going on. All of his limbs were doing that japa. And Ma laughs uproariously. Here is what this body says. This is the way japa should be done. Not only with the tongue, but each and every part of the body should be engaged in japa. Only that is real japa. Questioner, what should one do to remember God without any break? How can one achieve akanda smarana, unbroken remembrance of God? We want to hear from you, Ma. Shri Ma, so much nectar has rained here through the speeches of these great Mahatmas. Are you not satisfied yet? Yesterday, one fellow said, we do not even get a moment to remember him. We're so engaged in other activities. What's the way? This is the fact. The main thing involved here is the theory of papa and punya, vice and virtue. What is punya, virtue? To follow one's dharma, one's righteous life, and to follow the instructions of the scriptures. Not to follow those instructions is adharma, lack of righteousness, and adharma is papa, vice or sin. Therefore, just in a light mood, this body told him, look, Baba, while working, if you keep your foot so that it causes your fall, it is a sin. And that is right. God created this world according to his kalpana, his imagination, in order to sport in it. You too are part of his sport. Nobody works without thinking first. God says that everybody is an instrument in my hands. If that instrument is not allowed to remain in God, how can it be called an instrument in the hands of God? Our kalpana, imagination, our kalpana can become Bhagavat kalpana only when we're in Bhagavan, only when we're combined with God. All forms in which God himself sports are called his yantra, his instrument, and all those works will only be from his kalpana, imagination. That is why this body said to that person, look, do one thing. When you walk, eat, or do whatever, just think that you are an instrument in the hands of God. And when you think, imagine that it is not you, but God who is thinking. It is all his thinking and imagination. Are you not able to spare extra time for japa and dhyanam, meditation? Therefore, whatever work you do, do it with this attitude. You spend 24 hours a day eating, drinking, sleeping, working, and taking rest at home. When you get up in the morning, the first thing you should do after taking a shower is wind your spiritual clock. The key is Bhagavat Smaranam, remembrance of God. That is to say, you should remember him in the way your guru has given you. So wind yourself and think like this. Oh God, I am yours forever. You are my support, my refuge. With this yantra, instrument, do whatever you want. So just as you wind your clock once a day, wind this spiritual clock also at least once a day. When you wind a clock, it runs for 24 hours. Similarly, when you wind yourself with the words spoken above, your yantra will work only within him for all 24 hours. Always keep him in mind when doing any work. Follow the path shown by your guru for japa, tapas, and dhyanam, morning and evening, wherever you remember him. If possible, remember him at noon and whenever you get time. But the only thing to always keep in your mind is that you are his instrument. Slowly, his remembrance will stay with you. This will automatically open the way for you to go toward God, who is the source of this kalpana, this imagination. If you have Bhagavat kalpana, the desire for attaining him, perform Bhagavat kriya, actions performed for God, and follow the way given by your guru. Only then will you achieve him. Jai Ma.
Jai Ma, thank you, Pragya. What a beautiful satsang. See how Ma's words are practical, but also very, they're earthy. You know, she uses very village style illustrations and things. But see, what is her main message? Remember God. And then her main tool is the name of God. Now she talked about how that the sadhu had the name coming out of his ears, his heart, his hands, his heart, his feet. So that's the main thing she stresses for us is to use a mantra, use the name of God, and remember it, do japa, do the repetition of mantra, and do our practice. That's the normal thing she's always going to say, do your practice. Wonderful. Now at this point, we want to open up the floor for discussion, but I want to start with our friend Ananda Swarup because he's on a little island off the coast of Spain, and it's the middle of the night there, and he's been kind enough to join us. So I'd like to hear his story of how Ma touched him. So Ananda Swarup, are you still there? Can you unmute yourself?
I am.
Yeah, please tell us briefly just how Ma reached out and touched you on that little island off the coast of Spain. I'd be interested in hearing.
The question is very easy, but the answer is very difficult.
Yes.
No, I have no idea how, but I know that she came in my heart, and she's every day and at every moment with me. And from when I can't remember. I can't remember. I started to know about her with the book Autobiography of a Yogi from Paramahansa Yogananda. But this was when I was very young. And years passed by, and I was engaged in the world, you know, but always maintaining my mind in spiritual matters. But now, if I think now, I think that she has been always with me, deep in my soul. So it's very difficult for me to answer this question, Mangalananda, very, very difficult. But what can I say is that she's with me all the time, every day, every minute.
Thank you, Ananda. That's really true. And see, for me, that totally answers the question, because I totally understand. This was an interesting trait with Ma, and you find this in Ma devotees. I think I mentioned it before in my first darshan of Ma. It was in Vrindavan in 1973. And I've been waiting to see, you know, what would it, and I've been reading about Ma for about a year and wondering what would it be like to see Ma. And she came, we were in this little room. In fact, Rainu and some of the people had been there with me to that room. I said, this is the first place I saw Ma. And she came out of the room and just sat on this little charpai. We were sitting in front of her, and she was sitting in front of us. And when I looked at her, it was such an amazing thing, because it was to see someone so egoless, like just so, there was no person there in a certain way. At the same time, she was just this majesty. She was the queen of the universe. But what struck me, this is what your experience reminds me of. When I looked at her, I mean, this wasn't an intellectual concept at all. There was like this movement of my soul, the deepest part that knew there has never been a time I didn't know her. There was never be a time I won't know her. See, that's what you're experiencing. When did Ma come in? She's always been there. There was obviously some point where you became conscious, but that's a very typical thing with Ma devotees. The soul has always known her. She's the mother of our soul. So she brings these soul movements in our life. So yeah, I understand that totally. When did Ma come? She's always been there, and she always is there. So, but it's really good that now it's becoming conscious in your consciousness. The Ma is there and with you, and that's what she's saying. She's saying Bhagavat Smaran. It's the remembrance, the unceasing remembrance of God. And Ma, listen, let's face it. We devotees of Ma say Ma is God. She's an avatar. She's a revelation, or so a manifestation of that perfect divine consciousness. So when we remember her, we are remembering God. So and it's easier to remember her as a person rather than this abstraction of what is God, which we don't know. So yeah, that's wonderful. Aware of it. That's the idea. So very good. And thank you for joining us and for staying with us.
I think that I also think that she is the Divine Mother incarnated. And it doesn't matter if she's not in this body. Even when she spoke about her, you know, and she said, this body, blah, 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 this body, blah, blah, blah. She saw her like an energy, the divine energy that is present in all things, not as this body.
Exactly. So she wouldn't say I. She rarely used the pronoun I, because she would say Yeshua, this body says, because she was so aware that she was in everywhere. And it happened to be at that moment she was speaking to that particular form. But it is true, the fact that her body is no longer with us, I mean, it was a wonderful thing to experience being with her, but she's just as much present. She stepped out of eternity into this world, and she used that form and that name, which, you know, there's a whole Leela how she got the name. Her name is Nirmala Sundari, but she got the name Anandamayi Ma from Baiji, and she responds to that. And she keeps that form, she keeps that name for us to still be able to contact her.
Yes, yes, and I was reading also that when she was with Bolanath, her husband, and she was worried because she said, why did you make like this? Because all the people will come, and and they will not leave us. Just right in the beginning. So she knew that many people will come to her. Well, she knew. I'm sure that she knew all about the future, and all things that will happen.
Yeah.
And I was aware some months ago that I even didn't have any picture of her. So I went to the Photoshop and I like this photo. So, you know.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't see. You see it?
Yes, yes.
And she's. I have this photo always with me. I don't need it, but I like to see her, to hear her face all the time, every day with me. But I feel her really in my heart.
Yeah,
and I feel myself as part of her soul as well. Yes.
Wonderful. Yeah. She loves to live through her photos now, and she even said at one point, she told people, "If I'm not with you not physically, stand in front of my photo and talk, and I will hear you." That's very good. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you, Anand Srupti. Thank you for sharing that. It's wonderful. I'm remembering something that just happened. You know, you'd be with mods. Little things would happen you would miss them if you blinked. And there was one time after a satsang, I think it was in Kanpur or someplace like that, and we were after satsang, we would all go up and just one by one and make our pranam saman, and so she would say a word, she would put a girl on it, she would touch you, you know. And so I was standing in line waiting for to have Ma, to make my pranams to Ma. And there was a little lady in front of me, a village lady, very simple, dressed in very almost like rags. And she had a picture of Ma. It was not this particular one, but it was also a full figure one of Ma. And you know, the word pranapatishta means it's when someone puts the life into an image that's going to be worshipped, into a murti. It's done in a particular way with mantras. Pranapatisha, it means putting the prana, putting the life into an image. And it's a very ritualistic done before any puja. So this lady was holding a picture of Ma, and she was going to go up and she was going to have Ma touch her or something. And there were several people in front of her, and suddenly Ma just leaned way over, and with this ring finger, which she touched the heart of the picture and brought it to life and just came back. It happened in a split second. I'm sure many people didn't even see it. And the lady was just like amazed. Oh, look at this now. And I'm sure she still has that photo of Ma worshipped by, she's probably dead now, but her, I'm sure it's in her family now that this living picture that Ma herself brought to life. Yeah, so the photo.
A blessed photo, yeah.
So thank you, Nanthru. Now we have what, 27 people here. So at this time, I would like to really be nice if we can have a discussion. Make sure everyone's muted, but if you want to speak, just unmute and we've done it with the hand raising thing before, but let's just see how this works. Just unmute if you have something to share. But remember, we want to keep it on the subject of Ma in our lives, practical teachings of Ma. We want to keep it on subject, of how we relate to Ma, how we practice her teachings. But I'd love to hear anybody's comment about the reading, about how Ma has touched you. So please, let's talk now. Talk to us.
Swamiji, I would like to hear from Neela, who just joined us today, the lady from Iran, Neela.
Yeah.
I would love to hear from her as to how she also came to Ma.
Okay, we don't want to put you on the spotlight, but Neela, if you would like to share with us about how you came to Ma in Iran, and I think you're in Sweden now, we would love to hear if you would like to. If not, it's up to you.
Yes, hi, I'm happy to share.
Very good.
So, yeah, I was in India 2020, and I was in Rishikesh on a yoga teacher training. And while I was there, I met a German man, and he shared about Ma and her ashram in Haridwar. So I just felt this calling in my heart to go there to this ashram in Haridwar. And I went there, and I felt when I was sitting by her, I think she went to Samadhi there, or if I'm...
Her body is enshrined there in that marble.
Yes.
This is her Samadhi shrine. She left her body in
Yes.
Denver, but she was enshrined there. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I sat there and I felt this loving, warm energy. And since then, she's been in my heart, and whenever I hear about her or I listen to teachings, she's just here in my heart, and I feel her grace and her love, and yeah, it's wonderful. So yeah, this is how I got in touch with Ma, and she's a big part of my life now. And yeah, and this satsang, even just listening to the stories you shared, I just felt like so touched. I feel really, really blessed to be here.
Oh,
I feel like grace brought me here, and yeah, I'm very happy.
Very good. Thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that. It's true.
Yeah, thank you.
Very, very powerful. It's interesting. Gloria and I go back every year before COVID, to India, to our ashram there in Madhya Pradesh. And we were there in Rishikesh with Gulshan, who's also here, in 2020, probably February 2020. We were in Rishikesh. We may have seen you. We were in Rishikesh and Haridwar at the Samadhi in February 2020. We got back in March 2020, just right before the shutdown came. Interesting. We were there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Yes.
wonderful. That was the last place I actually saw Ma in person. Across from the Samadhi, there's a smaller ashram, and there's a little Shiva temple, and her room is there. And see, all that big stuff wasn't built back in the 70s. But the last place I saw Ma, I had it as private with her in her room when I realized I couldn't get my visa renewed and had to go back to America. But yeah, that's a very special place to me. I'm so happy you saw that. It's so good. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I'm happy too.
And she always said an important thing is to keep satsang. Is as much as possible find devotees and meet like this and discuss scriptures and be together.
Yes.
So this is why I had like a passion in my heart when I was living in India. I was sent by Swami Bhaskarnanda, who's Ma's main Swami, back to India in 2001 to help start a school there in one of Ma's ashrams. I lived there for 12 years. And then I was traveling. These ashrams sent me to travel for many years and raise funds for the school and teach classes and stuff and do kirtan. And I always found people like you who have been touched by Ma. And I kept thinking, there's no ashram outside of India for Ma. So people who have been, who Ma has touched, they should be able to get together. So at least now we're able to meet like this. So it's so good.
Yes, it's absolutely amazing. I'm just longing to, if there is like devotees in Sweden or in Europe, it would be amazing to connect and meet up and do kirtan together. It would be really beautiful and amazing.
Yeah, all I know of there's a Matthew Satsang group in London, England, run by Mr. Pegler, and we know one in outside of Paris, which we visited, run by Claude Portal, and of course Hari Priya is there in Germany. There are Madhavis kind of scattered here and there that we know, but there's not a real. I don't know of any real satsangs up north there in Sweden. But if I hear of something, I'll definitely let you know. If you would, please do put your email in the chat. And
yes.
Every time will pass it on to me, and then I'll keep in touch if I hear somebody in Sweden. I'll definitely put it.
Yes, absolutely.
In the meantime,
that would
we're
be
always
amazing.
Good. Maybe we'll meet in India sometime too.
Yes, that would be amazing.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Jai Ma.
Jai Ma.
Anyone else have anything to share? This is such a sweet sharing today, but both people so far. Anyone else have anything they'd like to comment on the reading or ask questions or just share from their heart?
I can share. Jai Ma. So I haven't been to satsang in quite a while, and it's such a good reset for me to come to satsang, because even though I think of Ma, and even though so much of my sadhana is from and for Ma, it's like to be in the presence of other people who like understand what these tears mean. It's so nice to just be able to like not even be able to explain the connection, because I already know everyone feels it in their own unique way. And I would just like to say, like, I can't wait for your book, Pragya, because while you were reading it, I was hearing Ma, or imagining that coming from Ma's mouth, and it's just so powerful. the amount of clarity and wisdom and compassion and thoughtfulness and it's just every time I think of Ma, I feel like she eases the mind and then breaks open your heart. And then once you've been touched by her, like you can't be untouched. It's just like not possible. It's like taking the blue pill or whatever pill that is. But yeah, that's all. Mangalanandaji knows, like I just can't be in the presence of Ma and not cry. I don't think Mangalananda has ever seen me not cry. So this is normal, and this is what she brings out of people all over the world.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you, Savita. Yeah, it is true. Ma touches the heart. Yeah. It looks like Christopher Pegler just joined us. Christopher, I was just mentioning you. There's a lady in Sweden who was looking for Christopher.
You know, my memory's bad. It slipped my memory until just now.
But I was just literally just now, a lady from Sweden has joined us, and I was telling her about your satsang there in London. She was asking about satsang somewhere in Europe that she could hopefully connect with, and then suddenly you show up. How nice!
Well, I was suddenly thought, hey, wait a minute, there's a satsang. What's the time? Too late.
Well, we just had several readings about Ma's life, and then Pragya read a beautiful excerpt of a whole satsang.
Yeah.
Really nice. So now we're just kind of talking. Do you have any?
Yeah, I thought you must be.
You want to share with us, Christopher?
Not really, no.
Okay, well, we're happy to have you here, as always.
Yeah.
What about Charlotte, who I think she was the one who was a little bit scared of something going on? Was it Charlotte?
Yeah, but I first want to ask, anyone else having to share about their time with Ma that we would like to talk about? We've had some beautiful sharing so far. Yeah, Charlotte in Southern California, you mentioned at the beginning you felt something, you were going through some difficulties. Do you want to share that?
I don't know. I feel like Ma has just brought me here so that like I don't know, I felt really scared because I was struggling with some mental illness and just really scared with my own past trauma of my life, and and then I started having these weird experiences in my body that I couldn't explain, like my head was getting chopped or I was getting these really bad headaches. And I had a dream about Ma, like when I was trying to learn some of the ball practices, and I thought if she was in my position, I would want her to stop because it was doing, like I had a dream that she got drunk and she could like barely walk. And I was like, okay, maybe that's a sign that I need to stop. And I also had my own like mental illness and some trauma that I was carrying around that time. And I had posted something about someone that wasn't true, but because of my own stuff, like I think I angered somebody. And then I started having these weird sensations in my body that I didn't want. And because I spoke up about something, like I thought someone was sexually harassing me when they weren't. And so I've been praying a lot to Ma and keeping her in my heart. And I didn't know what to do. But I think hopefully they're not going to bother me anymore. I think that I learned my lesson, like not to believe everything that I think. And I'm just glad that Ma is in my life still.
Yes, yes. I'm familiar a little bit with the Bao tradition, and it's a very genuine but very esoteric path. And Ma always said these paths are not to be taken without the strict guidance of a strict teacher of that tradition. So to kind of to kind of play with it, and I don't mean to say you were just playing with it, but not to be instructive in person by a person from that tradition. It can be very dangerous. Let's think back to what the reading was from Pragya the other day, from the satsang. Ma talked about what she always says, basically, Bhagavan Smaranam, remembering God, remembering God's name. I can tell you, it's a long story, but I've had experience with negative spirits and things in some esoteric work that I was doing earlier in another ashram. And I know by my own experience, and Ma would definitely say this, no power can stand against the name of God. And that's really something you can depend on with your very life. But if you're saying a mantra, any name of God, I know when negative spirits, once you're invoking Rama and Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, is very powerful. But if you chant the name of God, no negativity can touch you. You are totally protected. So if we think of Ma and chant whatever mantra we use, all the names of God have equal power, or just chant Om Ma, no negativity can touch you. And you can really be safe in that. So I know we refer back to what we just read earlier. Ma said that, remember God, remember his name, and everything takes care of itself. So there are such a thing, people can affect you negatively and psychically. There's no question of that. But the name of God protects a person, and Ma's presence protects the person, as I think you're experiencing. So, and I know Ma always recommended, don't step onto a path, especially one of these very esoteric paths that has a lot of power, unless you're very properly guided by someone that you know is in that tradition. It can be very harmful to do such a thing otherwise.
Yeah, I think that I needed more support and more like somebody that I could talk to more about it. And I think it just wasn't a good fit. And I think that just with my own mental health struggles, it just wasn't a proper fit. And the Zoom, like the online Zoom, because I got some instruction, but it was online Zoom and it wasn't one-on-one. And so I think for me, it was really dangerous. And I don't know if she was angry at me, but just with my own, my own mental health struggles, my own depression, like it's easy to believe for me. It was easy for me to believe that someone was pissed off at me or whatever, and run those stories in my mind. And yeah, the mantra, I've had experiences of weird beings affecting me while I'm sleeping, and then I just do the mantra and then they just go away. Yeah. And at first it was really scary. And then, but there was this voice that said, don't move, just do your, and then I was like, okay, I'm just going to pray to Ma and do my mantra. And then they just go.
Good.
So,
yeah, I want to refer back to the reading we had from Ma earlier, that those two things she stresses is total surrender to divine will. Just like Ma was saying, I am the yantra of Bhagavan. I am the instrument of Bhagavan. And if we just keep remembering that we're surrendered to Ma, all of us here specifically are surrendered to Ma, and have Ma work through us and say the mantra that we use. And she kept stressing, do your practice. So I think nothing else that she would say, well, what else could she say? She always said, do your practice, rely on God, say the name of God. So yeah, I think that's really good. I think that would be helpful.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that too. Like I said at the beginning, one of the ideas of having these satsangs is so we have community. So we help each other, we can talk to each other and support each other. So that's good.
Mangalanandaji.
Yes, Pragya.
Hi. So first of all, Charlotte, thank you so much for sharing. And I just wanted to say it's so striking that you have this picture of Ma's feet right behind you. And I just, what that says to me is you're just in the right place, that your instincts are really right, that what do we need when when we're lost, you know, or confused, we need the Divine Mother. And so I'm so happy for you that you're at her feet. That's really amazing. And I also just wanted to ask Scott, not to put you on the spot, but in the beginning, we talked about maybe hearing a little bit about how you came to satsang. Would you mind?
Yeah, I would be happy to. I feel the same way. I don't know where to begin. What parts do I include? The short answer is via YouTube, which makes me happy that you'll be posting these things on YouTube, because it's been an important resource for me while I was chronically ill. I was burned out as a software developer, and spent the last decade trying to recover from that, along with chronic illness that has really been kind of my teacher a lot of my life. Anyway, I was searching. I was sick at home, and all I had was the internet, and so I just watched a lot of YouTube. I was so sick. I used to do a lot of reading, but I couldn't. I was so sick that I couldn't do a lot of reading. I was that sick. So I would just watch YouTube and looking for answers. Then I started having some very interesting experiences in my own body. And also being so sick, there were some very, dark evenings where I didn't know if I wanted to live. But one of those evenings, I felt a divine presence in the room, and I knew it was feminine, powerful, and loved me no matter what. Loved me no matter what. And then I still had a long road to go to get to where I am now. She has brought me here. I didn't know what her name was, but when I heard her words for the first time, it was like lightning. And her words just sparkle to me. The clarity, the clearness. I don't understand all of them. There's so much I have to learn. But the truth that I have collected through my illness, the things that I'm grasping for the eternal, because I'm just so sick, you start grasping for something that's real. And I cried out in the night, and she answered. I'm just so grateful to be here with this group of people. Change the view to the gallery. I'm humbled to be here with you, to find you, finally. Maybe some people who understand what's going on in here.
Yeah, that is.
So anyway, thank you so much.
That is really moving. I think we're all very moved by that. Ma said frequently that suffering is one of the important tools God sometimes uses to wake us up. Because it is true, when we're just going through our daily life, everything's fine, everything's happy, the sun is shining. We do forget God, but then when we're suffering, it's true. Then we start, as you say, looking for something eternal and reaching out. That's very beautiful. And definitely Ma has come to you and talked to you. That's wonderful. Wow. If I can suggest, for some of the newer people here who may not know that much about Ma's life, there are many wonderful books, but I wrote a very small book at the behest of the head of our ashram. Asked me to write something that would just be an introduction to Ma's life, because there are many thick books. Pragya's book is wonderful like that. But if you look on Amazon, there's a simple book called A Goddess Among Us. And I wrote it just as an introduction of a life sketch of Ma and some of her teachings and some of my memories of being with her. So that's a resource also you can rely on, because it's small and it's cheap and you can read it in an hour.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Leela's holding it up right now to the screen.
Okay. Okay,
Also, I put the
wonderful.
link in the chat. Both of your books.
And then Pragya's book also, which is a larger book and more, very well researched, is a treasure also to go to. Thank you, Scott, for sharing that heartfelt experience. Really, that's wonderful. And you are in the right place, and that's why we're here to share these things and to be with Ma together. Well, we have to, unfortunately, we are limited by time. So I want to leave us with one last teaching from Ma, one practical teaching. And then we'll sing another kirtan while we have Ma's darshan through photos and do a little bit of meditation together, as we always do. I think this little excerpt is very practical. Again, Ma just takes things right to the point. What do we need to do to progress? Ma says, Jagat. Jagat means the world. Jagat means movement and change. And Jiva, which is the name for the individual soul, means bondage. Jagat, world, means change. Jiva means bondage, the soul in bondage. A relationship with the Jagat Guru. The Jagat Guru is the world teacher in any form that he or she comes, which we believe Ma is that. A relationship with the Jagat Guru can change the situation. In other words, our being in bondage. But first, one must have a clear relationship with the Atma Guru. Atma Guru means the real Guru inside, the Guru who is our true self. How is this to take place? Search and find that inner bliss which is your own nature. As long as that is not revealed, you are trapped within the movement of the universe. We do this, we find this search by building a relationship with the Atma Guru, the inner Guru. God alone, in any of his manifestations, is the only Guru. From a relationship with him, form a relationship with him. God's name is the Guru. Seek and practice this. By taking the divine name, what will happen? It is like sowing a seed. Eventually, the tree takes its natural form. The name has its own form. You are within that form. God has put his name form into this world so that we may find him through it. It's a hugely important statement. Let's read it again. This manifestation, we just think Ram, Krishna, Om Namah Shivaya. We think they're just sounds. These are literally manifestations of God in the world. The name has its own form. You are within that form. God has put his name form into this world so that we may find him through it. There is just one Atma. The entire universe is just one. There is the one within every one. My Atma is the Atma of all. The Atma of the universe is my Atma. Use the light of the Guru that you will find to remove that veil that prevents you from seeing this truth. The veil is removed by grace. Listen to this. How is this grace invoked? The veil is removed by grace, which is invoked by puja, pat, japa, dhyan, satsang. Puja is any kind of worship, the way we relate the divine with. It can be formal or it can be very informal. Any way we relate to the divine. Pat means scripture recitation. When we say Hanuman Chalisa, we cite the Gita, we bring these words of the great illumined teachers into our consciousness. Japa, repetition of mantra, one of God's names. Dhyana, meditation, learning to focus the mind on one point, on one object of meditation, whether Ma recommends the mantra with the breath, but learning to focus the mind by daily practice. And satsang, what we're doing, keeping company with other devotees, discussing the scriptures, discussing Ma's words. See how important Ma says. So these are the 6 things Ma says constitute sadhana. Puja, pat, japa, dhyan, satsang. And then Ma ends by saying, this is your only duty. Whoever sits in meditation should have God realization clearly in mind as their only aim. By having one objective, power awakens from within. Sitting in meditation thinking about different things obstructs this flow of power. Keep the goal in mind and concentrate the mind. So beautiful instructions from Ma. We need to contact the inner Guru, and we do it by invoking grace, and grace is invoked by these very practices that we do every day. So remember in Pragya's reading, Ma was saying, Have a practice every day, at least morning, better morning, evening, and then she says even noon. Try to have a practice where we remember God. Very good. So let's see. Let's sing one more kirtan while we have a slideshow where we look again. We were talking about how important Ma's photos are. Ma manifests now through her photos. So let's have darshan of Ma as we sing her name.
Original sound.
I did it. Thank you. Thank you for reminding me. Can you see the photo? Is it on?
Yes, we see it.
In this kirtan, we say Ma's birth name, Nirmala Sundari Ma, Anandamayi Ma. Jaya Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, 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 Anandamayi Ma, Jaya 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 Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma, Jaya Ma. Nirmala Sundari Ma, Anandamayi Ma, 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 Jaya 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 Ma, Anandamayi Ma, Jaya Jaya Ma, Shri Mama. Om 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 Shri Ma. Jai Jai Ma. 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 Om Anandamayi Ma. Jaya Jaya Ma. Anandamayi Ma. Jaya Jaya Ma. So let's end by doing what Ma suggests throughout the readings. Sit quietly. We can either keep looking at the photos of Ma or just have the eyes closed. And we'll have the body straight, the spine erect, the chest up. And just very gently watching the breath, the natural movement of the breath. Letting the mind sink down into the breath. And then with the movement of the breath, adding the mantra, whatever mantra we use, or simply Om Ma. So when we breathe in, naturally with the rhythm, we intone Om Ma. And we breathe out, Om Ma. Breathing in, Om Ma. Om Ma. And we just keep the mind gently with this object, breath and mantra, breathing, vibrating the mantra in the breath. And if the mind runs away, we gently bring it back, resting in the moment, feeling the mantra vibrating the breath. भवतापनाशये आनन्दघनमूर्तये ज्ञानभक्तिप्रदायिन्ये मातस्तुभ्यं नमो नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मामृतं गमय आविराविर्मेधि। Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness to light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Shri Anandamayi Mata Ki Jai. Apne apne Sadgurudev Bhagavan Ki Jai. Om Namah Parvati Patye. Hara Hara Mahadev. So thank you all very much for joining us today. Thank you for the wonderful heartfelt sharings people gave. Thank you, Pragya, for sharing from your book, and for Savita and Renu for hosting with me. And everyone is very welcome to come every month, the third Sunday, same time. Now, a couple of public service announcements. This is separate from Satsang. Our Ma Sharanam Ashram in central India, in Madhya Pradesh, is run in Ma's name with the intention. We have a school there with about, well, now I think it's about 250 to 300 boys and girls, and a Gurukul, which is a hostel with about, we had 50 boys before the pandemic. Now they're coming back. Now we have about 20. And they're starting their new school year this year, and they desperately need funds to educate, give a free education based on my teachings, a government regulated school, and they give free books, uniforms, food, everything. We recently made a new video about the school, and Renu has dutifully pasted it into the post, right? Okay, so if you would copy and paste this little YouTube video. It's about an 8-minute video about the school. We just made it, and there's a link underneath it for giving donations in a very secure link with this thing called Give India by credit card. So if we would like if people feel inspired to help this school, which is run in Ma's name, we'd really appreciate that. So look at the video and see how the school is running, how beautiful it is. And when things open up even more, I don't know, I think it's advisable now, but people return to India, you're welcome to visit our Ma Sharanam Ashram there in central India, also on the banks of the Narmada River. Many people here have been. So that's one thing. The other thing is, as Pragya mentioned at the beginning, we're going to have a celebration. Ma's birthday is by calendar April 30th, and then we usually celebrate by the Luna Tithi, which is when the astrology is the same as the month as when it actually took place. So there's about a month in between in which you could celebrate Ma's birthday, and we're going to have a very simple celebration online at the same link as this is today, the same time also. On May 1st, Sunday, May 1st. So it would be a couple of weekends from now. Do you want to say anything, Pragya? You have to unmute. You're muted.
Sorry, Jema. We'll be doing a little bit of a special program that day. We'll show a video of Ma, a very beautiful video. We'll, at the end, offer flowers to Ma's feet. We're going to have both houses, our house and Mangalananda and Gloria's house, will be in 2 different screens, and the puja will be here. And so if you bring if you have flowers that day, either rose petals or carnations, you can bring them and participate in the puja at the end of satsang. We'll also be singing the arati, the waving of the lights at the end. So it's going to be like a special birthday party for Ma with special readings, and it should be really beautiful. Last year we had a wonderful time.
Yeah, and we're not making a real public announcement, but all of us you're invited. All of you are invited. Anyone who's come to satsang, and like Pragya said, have some flower petals if you want to participate. And we offer 108 times to Ma, saying "Om Ma Sharanam," offering the flower petals. This is called Pushpanjali. And so yeah, welcome to join us at this link, and we're going to send out a special invitation. If you're on our mailing list, you'll get it. And if you're not on our mailing list, leave your name and address in the text here, and Renu or Savita will send it on to me, and we'll get it off.
How about for the ones who are in the Bay Area, like especially Scott, since he's new, may not know about the in-person one that you're doing?
Oh, you mean the kirtan?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're in the Bay Area, we're doing kirtan. The first kirtan I've done since January 2020 in the Bay Area. We're doing a live kirtan at the Ananda community in Palo Alto in South Bay. It's a beautiful Yogananda community, and they've invited us to come, and it'll be outside on the lawn, weather permitting, which weather I'm sure weather will permit. And if it does happen to rain, they have a big temple inside we can go into. So we're doing live kirtan on Ma's birthday, April 30th in the evening. I think it's at 5 o'clock. So if you're in the Bay Area, please drive down there and join us. It'll be really a wonderful time to sing to Ma and sing some kirtan together live. It'll be great. My whole band will be with me. A tuba player, violin, a guitar, I'll have harmonium. Gloria will sing with me. It'll really be fun. So join us if you can. Anything else, Renu or Savita?
I'm jealous I can't be at the kirtan.
Yeah, fly out here. Oh, well, we'll do kirtan again together someday in person too. I'm sure we will, right? Yeah. Okay, so thank you all for joining. If you want to go to Galley View and unmute, we can all just say goodbye to each other. And God bless everyone. And pray for the people of Ukraine. And just our practice is really making a difference. We know that. Ma said we're all connected, and our daily practice goes out to the whole world. So if we're saying prayers for the people of Ukraine and for this horrible thing to end, it looks like it's going to go on forever. It won't. Ma will give her blessing to the people who need it so desperately. So please remember the people of Ukraine in your prayers. So Jai Ma to everybody, and thank you for coming.
Jai Ma.
So much
Jai
love.
Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mangalananda and everyone for your sharings. So beautiful.
Yeah.
We're one family in Ma,
Jai Ma.
one community in Ma. It's really wonderful to see everybody.
Jai Ma, everyone.
Jai Ma.
Thank you.
Hello. Good to see everyone. Jai Ma.
Take care, Goshen. Good to see you.
Take care. Mangalananda.
Namaste.
Namaste. Jai Ma.